What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. How's y'all doing tonight? Let's get into some Genshin content, see what they're talking about. I ran across this article, Genshin Impact, 7 mistakes players make when using the Raiden Shogun. Now, all of you who have seen like my playthroughs and my streams when I'm streaming Genshin Impact, Shogun is one of my top characters. She is definitely like one of my best and definitely my hardest hitting character out of my entire squad. So let's see what they got to say about her, see how much I agree with, how much I disagree with. So, okay, number 7, not being aware of diminishing returns. Okay, Raiden Shogun's best in-slot artifact, the Emblem of Severed Fate, has an effect that increases burst damage of players' stack energy recharge on the user. This may cause people to stack as much ER as possible on the Electro Archon. Unfortunately, while this move is completely sensible, Raiden Shogun has shown a clear case of diminishing return. Therefore, players need to adjust their artifact main stat according to their weapon substat. Energy recharge, attack time speeds better with energy recharge. Attack goblet is also better than electro. And use energy recharge timepiece and electro goblet. I would say I have to disagree with that, merely on the fact that you're talking about 2 different playstyles. If you're going for a just pure DPS Raiden Shogun with no kind of support, because the thing about Raiden Shogun is that she is a cross between a main DPS, sub DPS, and support all at the same time. Attack support really, but support nonetheless all at the same time. So you really get to choose how you want her. The high ER is really for the all-around balanced Raiden Shogun, which is kind of how she's meant to be played. If you don't have that, then you're missing out on something that they're not mentioning here. They're talking about her like she's supposed to be in there fighting by herself, and it's a gotcha game. Remember, you fight in squads, so you always gotta think about your team around her. So with energy recharge, I say yes, go for the energy recharge and go for the 300 energy recharge that they talk about. I know some people say no, you only need 200, whatever, but that's fine if that's your playstyle. If you're going for just pure DPS Raiden Shogun, but if you play her like I play her, where she is DPS plus support, her burst recharges all of my characters' bursts before it's finished. And I mean, it doesn't matter who I'm using. Whatever team comp, no matter how high their energy cost is for their burst, my Raiden, the way she's built, does heavy damage to the enemy, and before her burst is up, as long as she's still, connecting all of her attacks, she is going to recharge everyone else's burst just to start the cycle all over again. It's called synergy, people. Come on now. Alright, so let's see what they have for the next one. Number 6, not using elemental skill before burst. That I absolutely agree with. You should never use the burst first. You always want to use the skill first because the skill amps up the burst. And say they see all the jargon right here with all the numbers. Just remember, skill first, then burst. Skill buffs burst. Okay, next up, neglecting Raiden Shogun's resolve stack. That too. Although sometimes it can be a bit annoying trying to charge it up for the next one, especially in like Spiral Abyss. If you're playing Spiral Abyss, I would say don't focus so heavily on her ring, on her buff right here, her resolve stack. Not to say it's not important. You're gonna get it stacked up because you're gonna be using all your characters and throwing out all of your attacks. This could charges up by your other characters using their bursts and stuff. So it's going to get a charge to it, but don't stare at it and focus on charging it in Spiral Abyss and everything, because you're not gonna have that time. Any other situation though, charge it all the way up and get that max attack in there. Number 4, not using Raiden to restore energy. Oh, are you? So you just contradicted your first point right there. She is one of the best batteries on top of everything else in the game, and yet your first point was to reduce her ability to do so. Now you're coming back to this. See, what is up with these lists, man? See, this is what I agree with. Big mistake, not using her to restore energy, just like we just discussed, literally just like a couple minutes ago, so I don't need to say all of that again. Number 3, enhancing her normal attack damage. Now, this one is kind of, I don't know, what do they have to say about this? Because it depends on how they lay this out. Okay. After casting her elemental burst, Raiden Shogun will take the field for 7 seconds, where she will deal a great electro damage in this duration. Usually, abilities like this will scale with normal attacks like Hu Tao or Zhao. However, Raiden has her own multiplier on her burst, therefore it's important to note that the Musen Ishin damage is considered burst damage. Yes, we all know that, or any of us who read the description. Said this means using items like 4-piece Gladiator Final will be useless on Raiden. True. On the other hand, the Electro Archon will work perfectly with artifacts of like Emblem of Severed Fate, the one that's meant for her, come on now, and the Noblesse Oblige, which I would say no, just give that to Bennett and let Bennett use his burst and amp her up. Additionally, as Raiden will not be using her normal attack, players should ignore this ability when leveling up her talents. So now see, that's the advice in circumstantial, I don't understand the whole idea of giving people advice to not level up stats that just scale straight up. Even if it doesn't affect certain things in their kit, there's no detriment to leveling up all of your character's talents, okay? I know they say that, and really, let's just be honest here. Not leveling up one of your character's talent is just really saying, I don't want to farm the domain for any longer. That's just saying, I'm tired of farming the domain. That's not saying I don't care about the stat. That's what it is, because her regular attack stat is very useful outside of her burst, especially with her skill. You gotta set the skill off somehow, and you want to get some good damage in, so come on now. So don't discredit one aspect of her ability of her kit even if it is irrelevant to another ability of her kit. It's not useless in its own sense. And the way they even worded this out, who would put Gladiator's Final on the Raiden Shogun? Nothing about her suggests that should go on her at all. So, I mean, maybe as a temp set while you're farming the Emblem of Severed Fate, but not something that you would put on her permanently. So I don't know. That advice was kind of weird. It's like, I agree with the reasoning, but the purpose is unnecessary. That's pretty much how I feel on that. Okay, number 2. Pairing Raiden with skills that trigger on normal attack hits. What? Okay, let me see what they mean by that. Okay, when Raiden Shogun was first released, many players raged. Many said that Hoyoverse removed her synergy with Beidou and claimed that the developer doesn't want Raiden to work with only characters she can work with. Luckily, soon enough fans realized the potential that A has, and this issue was never resurfaced. However, this mechanic is important to remember. Let me see. I'm not understanding where they were going with that, because pairing Raiden with skills that trigger on normal attacks. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, her skill triggers on normal attacks, so I'm not getting what they mean by that. I think they need to take a look at that and rewrite it, because that made no sense. Underestimating her synergy with Kujo Sara. Yes, I see this so much. Now, there's a bit of back and forth with this, so there's a little bit more explanation. Let's see how they say right here. Kujo Sara's viability and Genshin Impact is often frowned upon. Why? I don't know. She is not as bad as everybody makes her out to be, and she is not as useful as Bennett. True. However, players should not miss out on the Tengu Warrior. With this character featured in both the Raiden Shogun banners, with some luck, players should get 6 Genshin Impact constellations on Kujo-Sara. At C6, Kujo-Sara becomes significantly better support for Electro characters. Her final constellation will increase Electro crit damage by a whopping 60%, giving a large increase to Raiden Shogun's Mushu damage. Now, yes, that is true. Now, see, I understand the beginning frustration with Kujo-Sara, but at this point, she really doesn't deserve the hate. Yes, C0 Kujo-Sara is absolutely terrible, but you have to remember she's a 4-star, so getting her beyond C6 is not difficult. You can, I C6'd her by accident. Actually, I got her last constellation when she wasn't even on the freaking banner. She just dropped from me. So that's, you know, it's not going to be impossible. If you are someone who's currently stuck with a C0 Kujo-Sara, then, you know, just go ahead and level her. Wait until you get her constellations up, because once you get her to C2, she becomes very, very viable. And of course, you get her to C6, she becomes amazing with all of your other Electro characters. So don't sleep on Kujo-Sara. She is very useful. Alright, well, that's the list. I will say I agree with 5 out of the 7 points. That's fair, 5 out of the 7 points. The others, you know, I gave my counter arguments. So what do you think? Are these real mistakes people need to look out for? Or is it not that big of a deal? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Before you go, remember, like, subscribe, and I will see you next time. So, till next time, take care of yourselves, and I'm out of here.